Hello YouTubes, I'm finally getting round to upgrading this lovely loco to DCC. This was a really nice gift from Dan Crane II, but I think I might have an issue with this one. You see, I want to add sound to this decoder install, and I want to add this lock sound 5DCC decoder, which doesn't look very big until you realise that the body of this is narrower than the decoder. So that's the first issue. The other thing I want to add is a gigantic speaker to complement this lovely decoder. And if anyone knows this, which is a Walthers train line, they are very heavy because they're all metal inside, like right up to the roof. So let's crack it open, find out what we can do. So I believe this is a Fairbanks Morse, and it runs perfectly. Or at least it did. See, I thought I was being smart. I thought I'll strip down the trucks, clean the wheels, so that we're off to a good start. But I managed to break one of the pickups, so I'm going to have to repair that first. So let's just pretend I didn't break it, and I'll edit out that part where I fix it later on. How do we get the shell off? Pretty easy. There is a coupler box there and there, or normally there is. Unscrew them, and that's all that's holding this body onto the chassis. I couldn't really find anything to grab to pull it, so you shouldn't really do this, but I pulled the truck out a little bit because there really was nothing else to lever on. Once you pull it out enough, then you can get your fingers in that gap and then pull it out, but it should slide out quite nicely. As you can see, completely exposed motor, but it does run really nice. And here's what I'm saying about all the metal, okay? Top to toe, full of metal. Apart from that, this should be, or hopefully, be a relatively easy install. Walthers train lines are generally pretty good because the motor is normally isolated, but on closer inspection, I don't think this one is, unfortunately. Let me strip it down and I'll show you what I'm talking about, okay? Seems to be one screw in the top here, holding this circuit board and also this top half of the chassis. It's basically just a big weight. We unscrew that, lift that out the way, and this weight is now loose. Can just slide that out for now. I will be desoldering these wires because they're going to be going somewhere else. Now what we've got here is right rail pickup, these two black wires here. They go along this channel, and what I'm seeing is they're making contact with that screw hole in there. You see that? Which means the right rail pickup is going through the chassis. So the right rail is connected directly to the chassis. Don't think this is going to be a problem. Let's continue. Left rail pickup, these two wires here, go along this bar here, and they make contact with the other side of the motor through here. Okay, so that is one side of the motor, and the other side of the motor connects presumably from the bottom through the chassis and in there. So I think it would be easier if I take the motor out. However we do that, there's one screw down that wee hole there. Isolate it perhaps. Yeah, there's probably a similar deal going on at the bottom. You see that little spring clip there, which is making contact with that side of the motor. There's probably another one of them at the bottom. So let's see if we can take that out with that one screw. I don't know if this part comes off. No, that's metal. Let's get this screw out and hopefully the motor will just pop out. Oh yeah, I can see the motor wobbling already. Lift that out. What's on the underside? Exactly the same as the top. So how's it making contact? It's making contact directly to that. This is a metal frame that's holding the motor in, okay? Which means that that is touching that, which is screwed in, which is then transferring that power to the top through the chassis, out through that one, and into that little screw there. So yes, I think I will just isolate this with a bit of tape, solder a wire directly to that, and hopefully that will be enough to isolate it. So yeah, kind of like the Earth and Blue box. I'm going to put a bit of tape along there, put a bit of tape along there, solder a wire to that side, and then put another bit of tape on top, and hopefully... No, that's not going to work, because the screw that's coming up from the bottom will be making contact with that, unless we use a plastic screw. How does that sound? Sounds good to me so far. While I'm thinking over that idea, let's have a look at the space inside the body and see where we can put this decoder, or am I going to have to use a separate motherboard for it? The decoder itself would fit, but the motherboard it slots into is way too wide. I do have smaller ones, but they don't have any markings, so I'll be just guessing where they go. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look at the inside. So that's our lovely decoder, but as you can see, it will not fit that way. It is approximately 2mm too wide, and no, I can't really shave off the edge because there's all sorts of circuitry right at the edge. So I can't make it any narrower. However, what I think I could do is, if I'm not using this big fat weight, then we could possibly just set this at a slant, couldn't we? Also, it's got a light channel in there, down there, that I'm not going to be using. So it'll probably get more height than we think. So if we set that at an angle, cover it in tape, obviously, then I think, bear in mind we still do have the motor to go in there, but I think we're going to have enough height without this in the way. We can always add extra weight down there and down there if we don't think it's heavy enough, but honestly, this is already a metal frame chassis. It is pretty heavy, and I'm only going to be using it for small amounts of freight. So let us start removing this, because I won't be using that. I've got my 2 or 4 pickups left and right. There's that thing I may have broken. I will desolder them, get the motor back in. No, I won't get the motor back in. Desolder them, do that first, repair that, and I'll see you when it's all fixed again from that incident, okay? Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, my connection is now reconnected, and I've had second thoughts on how I'm going to wire the motor. Instead of isolating it, I'm going to use the chassis as the, let's call it the negative of the motor. So one wire will get soldered to there. If I screw that in here, the way it was before, it means that the power for the other side of the motor is coming along there, going through there, going round there and up there. This is isolated from that, I hope. I can't see how it could work if it wasn't isolated. You'll notice that that bit there is red, that bit there is not red. Which means all I have to do then, screw that in there, solder one side to there. This section is going to be live for the other side of the motor, so we just get the screw back in the top. We're not going to be using a circuit board this time. And we can add maybe a little metal washer to the underside of this, solder on the other positive, or the other power wire coming from the decoder directly to that. So that's going to be our 2 motor points there. I will test this with a battery first. Let's make sure my theory is correct. 1 motor, 1 battery. These things are handy. I had to buy like a pack of 12 just to get 1, but hey, they do come in handy. So if we connect the positive to there, negative to that screw, motor should spin, or anywhere on there it will spin. So that is definitely isolated from that, just in case you didn't notice. The flywheel's turning. This is tricky with 2 hands. Okay, so that is working. Wonder, while we're at it then, let's just put this into the chassis and try it again with the screw at the bottom, shall we? I'll need to take this back out again to get the drive shafts in, but we're still at the testing phase of this operation. That's the motor in place as before. We just have to make sure we get this around the right way, and I believe it is around the right way for the motor to go forward. Okay, so that's spinning. So I think that is going to work. So, just need to find a wee washer for there, put a blob of solder on that, and that's going to be 2 inputs for the motor. That's our left rail pickup, a right rail pickup. After that, we just have to remove that light bar, put in some sort of LED in the front, one in the back, and we'll be good. But we do still need to figure out where we're going to mount this decoder. So what I think I'll probably do is make a little platform out of this stuff. Yeah, let me work in that fantastic idea. Well, I could not find a washer. However, I did find one of these. You'll probably recognise that. Oh. Which I promptly turned into this, which is now serving 2 functions. That's going to provide one of the connections to the motor, but it also provides a bit of a clamp from a little platform that I made. So that will go over there. So we can wire up one side of the motor there, one side of the motor there. With a bit of luck, this will be just enough to hold it in place. And if that's not enough, we can always use some hot glue. Let's find out if I can stop fumbling. What I could probably do is glue this in place. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's do that. Hold on. Why make life so hard for yourself when you can make it super duper easy? Let's use some thin viscosity glue. Plop that in place. Like so. Try not to glue your fingers to the platform. Let that set for a sec. Wipe away excess glue. Wow, that just totally melted that plastic. This is just plastic card, by the way. Now we can put our little screw in. Make sure that's in place. Now, I'm not expecting this to be super rigid, but it doesn't have to be. Just enough to hold the decoder in place. Oh, that's actually quite good. Clears our flywheels. I have established that this is the positive connection for the motor, this is a negative. I'll show you why that's important with our battery, if we can still reach down. So if that's a negative, that's a positive, then it should go that way. I can't reach down anymore. Oh, hold on, I'll use my wee clippy thing. It's always good to test as you go. So positive, negative, red is positive, red at the front, negative at the back, should go that way. Off he goes. Okay, we are good to continue. Next step, installing a decoder, I suppose. There's one thing I need to do before I continue. I do need to attach a couple of speaker wires to there. See where it says SPK? Just a couple of speaker wires, everything else should be good to go. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to use my big giant speaker. It's too wide, and even at an angle there's no way it's going to fit. So I'm going to have to just use one of my little sugar cube speakers. But hopefully this will set maybe that sort of angle, like so. Hopefully we have got enough height to cover that, and a little sugar cube speaker can go there. Right, let me get a couple of wires on this. Right then, that's my little speaker wires connected. Don't worry about the colour, doesn't matter as long as I know where they're going. I'm not going to be using the purple or the green, so I have removed them. They are for like ditch lights and beacons and stuff. All I'm going for is front headlight, rear headlight, which is the white and the yellow. I've also trimmed them all the way down. We need the grey for the motor negative, orange for the motor positive, black and white, left and right rail pickups. Right, let's slap it all together, see if we can get this at an optimal angle so that we can get the body on. This is going to be really tricky. First though, I'm going to add a little bit of grey wire, a little bit of orange wire to these connections, because once we put this over the top, I'm not going to be able to access them. I also want to put a bit of tape around this so that we don't accidentally touch one of those live connections. Right, let's get this motor negative on at the back. Well, that took a bit of persuasion. Motor positive at the front. That was easier. Okay, so that's them ready to get connected. Those ones ready to get connected. Just need to try and mount this somehow. Which way around? Not that it matters really. But it has to come up about that sort of angle, because it can only be about as wide as that white platform. So obviously, as you can see there, it's too wide. Goodness, it's going to have to come up quite far. Hopefully I've got enough height. Right, let me wrap a bit of tape round to that. Around that, I'm turning Italian. Wrap a bit of tape round there, and then I will heat up the glue gun. And we will try to get this glued in place. It's going to be messy, but I can't really think of another way to do this if I want to use this particular decoder. Hot glue gun is hot. I've also added a couple of bits of tape there just to bring that down, because I'm going to be adding a speaker on top of this, and this wasn't really connected to anything at the side, so it would just flap about with the vibration of the speaker. Okay, I've decided it's going there. I did think about putting it at the back, but it doesn't really help unless it was all the way down, and no, I don't like that idea. So we're just going to hope that we've got enough height that we can put that round about there. Bob's your auntie. And if this doesn't work, we'll just have to use a different adapter instead of this big adapter at the bottom. And I've got a bit of tape along there to stop any connections to them. Right, let's give it a go. Copious amounts of glue. Can always add more. But this should be enough to get us started. I want it about there, I believe. Once the first layer of glue is set, we will add some more. In fact, what we could do is not add more and do a test fit. Just make sure that glue is set. I think it sank down there a wee bit, but it might be okay. And I'll bring it up just in case. Round about there. Might be okay. Who knows? So let's grab the body. Give it a shot, shall we? While that's setting, there is a job I have to take care of, and that is removing the light bar, because that's taking up precious space that we don't have. Don't know if I can just yank this out, or I'm going to have to snip it. You know what? I would quite like to perhaps keep that section of the bar there, and we can attach our bulb pointing that way. Front one isn't even connected to the front. I don't know how that was ever going to work. You see it? It's weird. I reckon I could just... You're going to make me remove this, aren't you? Back window section looks like it's all glued in. Let's see if we can get snips down there and chop it. Are they long enough? Ugh. Can go diagonally. Might make a weird cracking noise. Cover your ears. Not too bad. I'll do it the other way as well, just to make it pointy. Yeah, that'll work horribly. That'll be fine. So, we've also got these little ridges. I'm going to try and cut them or break them off as well, because we don't need them. They were just guides for that light channel. Get rid of them. And that one shouldn't really matter. In fact, we'll keep that one, because we can use that for lining up our front light. Keep that. We might not actually keep that. We'll see. If a 3mm bulb fits in that hole, then I'll remove that light channel thing. But we'll see. We'll get to that after we do this test fit. Wish me luck. So get all our wires tucked in. Oh, so far so good. It's definitely sliding, but do we have the height? That is the question. Stuff all the wires in there. Don't worry, the wires will be tidier once we... Oh, yes. Okay, that's sitting flush. That wee wire's just stopping it from going all the way down, but we do have the height at that angle, so I'm delighted with that. This is where I pull it off because the glue hasn't set properly. Oh, it's catching on something. Oh, it's alright. Excellent. We can proceed at that angle, but I will add a bit more glue just for support. And get those motor wires out the way. Add a splodge more glue in there just to shore it up. Like so. I know it's horrific, but if it works, it works, right? Let's not overthink this. Right, I'll let that set, and then I will solder on to those purple wires, my little speaker, okay? Let's mount our little speaker right there. Now, I did already have this in another loco. I thought it wasn't very good. I tried a different speaker. The other speaker wasn't any better. So I know these are actually pretty good. Probably need a bit of enclosuring. But it'll do for now. Easily accessible if I want to upgrade it in the future. But as I say, let's just get it on. Doesn't stick very well, so we're just going to add just a little bit of glue. Keep it in place. If the glue comes out, come on, just a squidge. Like so. Plunk you on. There. That seems to be quite a lot of glue that I now have on my fingers. Oh well. Let's wipe away some of the excess, shall we, before it goes places it shouldn't be. I have shortened my little speaker wires, as you can see. I think I'll need to get the tweezers in on the action. It's getting a wee bit tight in there for my fat fingers. Right, let us get this soldered in place. One goes there. I don't like it touching that, so I'm going to take it back just a wee shade to there. And the other one. Actually, that's way too much wire coming out there. Let me just trim that down a little bit. Get you in place. Right, that's our speaker installed. Oh, we can finally get on with the easy stuff, which is the wiring, because it's all fairly straightforward now, because I've done hundreds of these. Although not a sound one. The only difference with a sound decoder is the 2 extra wires for the speaker. It's a wee bit wobbly, but it isn't a wee foam pad, that's why it's a wee bit wobbly, so I'll let it off. Okay, quick summary before I do this. I'm sure you've all seen it before. If not, well, I've got plenty of other videos. Right rail pickup wires here. They need to basically get joined together and go into the black wire of the decoder, which is the right rail pickup, this one here. So this wire here needs to connect to those two. Likewise, left rail pickup. In fact, let's just go back a wee shade. Right rail pickup is the red wire coming from the decoder. See, I get mixed up because they're already black. Normally on a basic loco, the right rail pickups would be red wire. So those 2 wires from the right rail go to the red for the input of the decoder, okay? Black wires, left side rail pickups, go to the black wire See where I was getting confused there? So those three joined together, those three joined together. That's a power coming from the rails into the decoder. Then decoder does its magic, sends power to the motor via the orange and the grey wires, these two here, which is why I've got these two orange and grey wires coming out of the decoder motor. It's there somewhere. Oh, that's it. So orange and grey goes to orange and grey. That's fairly easy. And then I'll come back later and we'll do the lights. Let me get those main motor wires done first. Then we'll come back for the final stage, getting the lights installed, okay? Behold my masterpiece. Okay, it's not a masterpiece, but no one's going to see the inside as long as it works. So all that's left to do is connect these three wires to my lights. Now, with regards to the lighting, the 3mm bulb that I wanted to fit in the front was a little bit big, so I just made the hole a bit bigger and shoved it through. It was either that, or I had to somehow connect the bulb to this little thing, and don't need that. So, drilled that hole a bit bigger, stuffed the bulb in, glued it in place, back one glued to the end of that light channel, which will poke through to there. You know about decoders and wiring, you know that the blue coming from the decoder, this one here, is the common positive, so that lights all the LEDs with the positive signal. Yellow is the rear headlight negative, so that's going to that. Yes, I've added extra wires to make life easier. And the white is the negative for the front headlight negative LED. So, all that's left to do, wire them up, and then put the body back on. Yeah? That will take but a jiffy. Well, I accidentally hit the off button with my soldering iron there, so you missed the other wires. Oh well, you're here for the finale. Heat shrink on the common positive wire. And we are done. So, wee bit messy, but hey, it's a custom install, what'd you expect? So we just need to stuff these wires down there. There should be enough room. I specifically mounted the thick wires in that corner because when I flip this over, there's actually a slope at this side here. So I've got more space in the roof area for the wires over there if they decide to get involved. Anyway, the other wires are slim enough, hopefully, that they won't cause any problems. Right, let's check as we slide this down. Nothing causing problems there. Nothing causing problems there. Oh, something is causing a slight problem, but not enough to give me any trouble. That's still turning. That's still turning. I don't think anything's fouling. It's just possibly a wire hitting at the top. Only very slightly. Right, we're almost done. I just need to add front and rear couplers and clean the wheels a little bit. I got some glue on them there when it was facing down away. And I will see you at the track. Here we go. I wonder if it'll work. No, I've not cheated. I have no idea if it's going to work. Should be address number 3, but I think the front light will come on when I switch it to DCC. Might even get sound, who knows, if it works. Okay, we have no sound and we don't have a light. Let's go to loco 3. Let's see if a light will work. We have a light on and off. Let's see if it moves forward. It does. Change direction. It does. Okay, let me figure out how to put the sound on. Back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. I think we just press function 8. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I will change the address to 1057. Back in a sec again. Okay, I have returned again. We are now at 1057. Make sure the light still works. Should be 0. Yes, still got a light. Right, I think button number 8 might make a sound. Go. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Right, let's try a horn. Oh, it's a bell. Button 1 is a bell, obviously. 2. Angry horn. 3. Oh, clanky thing. 4. More clanky things. 5. I don't know. I'll need to go through them all and see what they do. I want to see what this sounds like. Or hear what it sounds like. Right. I'll take you off of this tripod and we'll follow it around, okay? Right, we're ready to go for a blast. Let's make sure our headlight is on. Actually, I just want to change direction, make sure the back one comes on, see how it looks. Lovely. Right, let's go. I have set it to speed step 128. Come on. Come on. Oh, there we go. Oh, so smooth, but the engine noise isn't changing. Oh, there we go. Needed a bit more gas. Oh, it's some nice sounds in this, I have to say. Right, I'll take it up a wee bit faster. Oh, let's go and catch it. Oh, very nice sounds. Not a huge sound person, but when the sound's good, the sound's good. But the thing is, once it gets up to speed, it doesn't really do much, unlike a steam train that makes chuffy sounds. Really nice though. Silky smooth. I'm so glad I fixed that pickup, or I noticed it was faulty and fixed it.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay. Alexa's wanting to get involved. Don't know if you heard her butting in. Let's try to help me with stuff. Anyway, folks. Super pleased. As long as you do things correctly, wiring wise, you don't need to test as you go, because you know it's going to work. Especially since I've done like 100 installs now. I really should know what I'm doing right. Wonderful. Right, I need to go and see what all the other buttons do, noise wise. Time to go for a well-deserved parade lap with a random selection of freight. Thank you very much, Dan Crane II, for sending this lovely local. And also to James, Dundas Junction, who actually gave me that sound decoder. It's meant to be for a Bowser 4-4-1000. That's close enough. Looks great, sounds great. See you on the next one. Bye for now.